Let's rank some antagonists, shall we? Let's do it. Samus, garbage villain, garbage antagonist. Oh no, the mortals are... Oh, they are so awful. I can't watch them anymore. I must eradicate everybody. Completely retarded psychopath. The US bro, a complete soy boy. Soy boy Saiyan, ruining the perception of Saiyans once again. Like, how many good Saiyans do we need? Enough. Saiyans supposed to be bad guys. Remember? Stupid retcons. Like here, this is a real Saiyan. The real Saiyans can go to C rank because these didn't do too much. Pilaf as a villain back then, such a great, fun character. Oh man, every time he appeared, it was hilarious. How he treats his henchmen, how he tries to. He's super smart in terms of inventions and something, because he's a prince apparently, but when it comes to applying, acting like a normal being, he's a complete idiot. Like, he really trusted Piccolo to give him a piece of land to rule over. And it's the freaking Demon King. Also a really good character. And Piccolo too, as a villain. He did really well, I think. Vegeta as a villain was almost excellent, but it's still a little bit of C rank. He really represented what elite Saiyan supposed to be. Even with godly training, Goku couldn't beat him, and how he acted was pretty much great. What else to say? He showed that Saiyans that he is far above gods, and there's more to his character as you go to the Frieza saga, which I thought was a downgrade, but to his character it was pretty good how he used strategies, the things he learned on Earth, to his advantage. Master Shen is fine. He's Tao Pai Pai's brother. I think he was his younger brother. And where's Tao Pai Pai? He can ironically fly unlike his older brother. He really cares. I think, despite us not learning much about their relationship, in the anime we see how they used to fight over food from time to time. That had some brotherly feelings that I kinda enjoy. And he was really devastated by his brother's supposed death, that he even wanted Tien to cheat to win against him. And Tao Pai Pai, obviously the first major villain that Goku had no chance of beating without godly training. And Tao Pai Pai certainly someone to be reckoned with. Monster Carrot, C rank obviously. Pui Pui is a jobber, but he's a henchman characters, I think, depending the type of henchman. Like, they do their job. He tries trickery to win against Vegeta. And the Ginyu Force I don't like the Ginyu Force, but I think as antagonists they do their job really well. Frieza, obviously, pretty good villain as a villain, but yeah, Dragon Ball Super kind of ruined him. And every appearance he had after too, he had his existence was what made him such a good character. Um, it was not his backstory because he's just evil for the sake of evil. He's just Space Hitler, but he feared the Saiyans. That's why he eliminated them. But one of which makes it more interesting that Goku defeated him because he had no relation with Frieza, and he had to accept his Saiyan heritage to finally put him down. As the androids, I don't like the androids. Garo and 19 are fine. I think as villains, as antagonists, 18 and 17 are pretty bad, but they aren't D-rank bad. They are okay characters, I guess, but as well antagonists, they aren't what you would hope them to be. And Piccolo's henchmen are fine. I don't like the Cybermen, but I think they do their job as being Reddit's level, I guess. I didn't really feel. I thought they are just jobbers and just one managed to catch Tien of God, but whatever. Cell Juniors are fine, I guess. So is Cell. Cell. Should I rank Cell a bit higher? Because the reason I put Cell in C rank is because after his introduction and all the things he tried to hide from Piccolo, he suddenly makes some of the dumbest mistakes over and over again. I think that's what pretty much ruins his character. That's why I can't put him to B rank. Also, he had explained all his entire backstory to Piccolo. Then we have these humans nobody gives a fuck about because they died. Babidi, Bibidi Boo. Can't go to detail. Babidi is such a disgusting idiot type of character. Like Pui Pui is better than Babidi. Boo is immediate A rank because Boo is pretty much personification of child tendency. He just does things based on how he was taught, and after Mr. Satan taught him what being a how is the importance of living beings and such, he stopped eating people, which made him such a good character. Dragon Ball Super kinda downgraded him, making him a spoiled child again. I felt he kinda grew up a bit during Suzi and GT, but I guess the writers don't feel like it. Same with Kid Buu, he also brought more evil type of deal of Buu, who doesn't act on reasoning. Pretty good. A fun character to watch. Breaking Havoc as Evil Boo can go to C rank. He had some hilarious moments, but we didn't get much of him to judge him. Super Boo is kinda clever, but I don't think he's such an he isn't fun like the other Boos. He doesn't have any interesting layers. He feels like a comic relief character, if anything. Like, these are also kinda comic relief, but I'm not sure if I should take Super Boo serious or not, because the entire fight against him felt like a filler arc. Garlic Jr. B rank. Yeah, he's a filler villain and a movie villain, but he had a unique goal in wanting immortality to create lead all the demons to take over the world, and he later also wanted to take the throne of God for himself, which is a unique goal. We don't have many characters that have anything unique, but well, taking over the world is nothing unique technically, but most villains are just destructive and evil and seek power just because. And I think his power is kinda justified being the offspring of a god candidate. As the henchmen of Taurus, they can all, and Garlic Jr., I think they can go to C rank, they do the bare minimum. Let's go. Where else? Yeah. Then, oh, we can also put Dr. Willow, henchman to C, and Dr. Willow himself to B rank, because Dr. Willow has a unique goal on taking the body of the strongest, because his body was destroyed from experiments over the years. And he is pretty the first major scientist type of villain we see. Speaking of Dr. Willow, his right hand man, so to speak, he seems like a really royal character. He and Dr. Willow are pure evil, but there seems to be some kind of respect for each other, which I really like. And he kinda seems also respectful, even if he's ill intentions. Like, you have to watch the movie. He is a mad scientist like Dr. Willow, but in terms of comparing himself to Dr. Willow, he is more humble, so to speak. Yeah, I think he's maybe B rank is a bit too high. Let's put him to C rank. He does more than the bare minimum, but he's fine. And Sousa is one of the best henchman characters, as he. But you have to watch the movie without fine I spoil it to you. So Cooler dies, and even after Cooler died, he tried to finish his mission. He takes advantage of Goku being weak and fighting Cooler, and he's one of the more royal and smart characters in Cooler's army. Like this guy, Ginyu, doesn't compare to him. Ginyu has some analytic abilities too, but I feel he doesn't compare to Sousa. And if we speak about good villains, I think compared to Frieza, Cooler is far better written. Like, better written character development, better written things. Well, character development doesn't make a character better, but it can make a character on average it should make them better, which in regards to Cooler is not, it doesn't have major character development, but what makes Cooler better than Frieza, in my humble opinion, is because his goal is, unlike Frieza, for him the family integrity is more important. For Frieza is just power for the sake of power. For Cooler, he wants not only power, he wants people to respect his army, the family integrity. A lot of things are important to Cooler, which gives him a little bit more layers. Unlike Frieza, he assists his henchmen in fights, rarely picks one-on-one fights when it comes to it. He never punishes his henchmen just like Frieza randomly for no fucking reason. So, despite him being evil, he says more to him than that. Obviously, when he tried to destroy the planet, some of his henchmen would be caught in the crossfire, but that's a sacrifice he's willing to make when to defeat someone as powerful as Son Goku. Let's put some henchmen here. Talus is really cares about Saiyans like Reddit. What makes Talus the Talus goal is more like he's kinda like Reddit's, but he isn't hiding himself. Well, he's kinda a coward type. He uses others to fight each other if he can takes that possibility. But what I like about Talus is like his power is justified. He's a low ranked Saiyan, but thanks to the Tree of Might, he can grow his power exponentially. Over the course of the movie, he ate like a bunch of planet nutrient Earth's Tree of Might thingy, and he was able to even surpass the Spirit Bomb, the first Spirit Bomb. It took Goku to use the wealth of the Tree of Might to defeat him. Would I put him any higher than these two? We will think about it later. General Silver is also a pretty interesting character because consider this. In the manga he is just a generic general who gets beat up by Goku. In the anime he gets more. Like we see him training, we see him competently lead his unit. Like, oh man, this guy is a big deal, you see. Even Pilaf with all his technology, a fraction of the Red Ribbon Army is enough to make Pilaf submit and give up the Dragon Ball. Showing that not even the villain from the previous arc is comparable to him. Similarly, Ninja Musashi, Violet, whatever. He is such a fun character to watch. He had some of the most hilarious moments, which is why I can't put him lower. King Gourmet is a terrifying king, who doesn't know anything about the outside world and makes his decision based on his small world he lived in. General White is a generic bad guy who manipulates others. The henchmen of Gourmet are similar. This guy was fine from my memory. This guy is hilarious. It's a vampire who wants to sacrifice a woman, a beautiful woman, to create use a machine to destroy the sun, so he can go outside, which is hilarious. And Terminator can go here too. King Cold is a complete disappointment, but as a character he showed some interesting interaction. When Frieza was killed, he didn't give a fuck. Similarly, how Frieza doesn't give a fuck about reviving his father, but they have a interesting relationship. Like, we don't see much, but it's funny how Frieza just respects his father like that, and his father isn't scared of Frieza, like, despite him supposedly being that much stronger. What makes King Cold more interesting is that he tried to bargain with future Trunks, as him becoming his new son. Interesting. And the J13 that's fine, but his Super 13 can go to D rank. He had some cool moves, but he was just a bland, a white piece of toast character. Does he do his job as a villain right? I guess kinda. I think Bojack has more to offer, because at least he has a motivation beyond just killing Goku. And his henchmen can go there too. And Bio Broly can go to D rank because you know it's Bio Broly. Janemba is and Janembas are fine. They have some unique. Janemba is just discount Boo in every way possible. Just it has he has some interesting abilities and that's what puts him apart. But also, I guess Hildegard does his role as a mindless monster bell because the movie wasn't about it was more about Tapion trying to cope. Then we have General Roldo. Oh boy, General Roldo A rank because General Roldo is the Chad. He's probably the best henchman character. Think about it, how he he acts like a general because he's a general. He cares about his soldiers, giving them nice medals when they win, do a good job. Like Rildo got a Medal of Honor. He takes suggestions of his soldiers and people that work under him. Like he wanted to beat the crap out of Goku and everyone by himself, but Giro told him, well, I can input data from their fights. I have the input data and the Sigma Force can kick their ass. And Roldo said, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do that. And the Sigma Force seemed like they could defeat Goku. Well, he was obviously pissed that the plan didn't work, but like he still uses his troops by placing them in certain locations to catch someone off guard and, you know, beats them. He was willing to take the entire planet hostage to win. But there's so much things that make Roldo such a great villain. He is also loyal to Dr. Mu, and we don't know why, but even after Dr. Mu's defeat, he was following the orders to defeat the Saiyans. And next up is Dr. Mu himself. He is just a generic bad guy. Paragus on the other hand, A rank. There's more to his character than meets the eyes. He didn't fight, but it was his plan to create a empire for the Saiyans, which Vegeta should rule, but then dispose Vegeta with either Broly or some asteroid and take the kingdom for himself, and mostly for revenge because of what King Vegeta did to him. And also he's Broly's father, and he actually cares about his son, at least at first, before realizing that King Vegeta was actually right with his prediction. And he will go to the first best villain, which is Broly, who represents the destructive nature of the Saiyans the best. I think he's a great contrast to Goku. People call him a mindless monster and that the new Broly is better, but they really didn't watch the movie, did they? They probably watched the Team Foster's version, which seems like a bitter hate video on Broly, because Broly had more to his character, like he's evil and destructive, but not mindless. If you look at how he interacts with Goku, he doesn't just go after Goku. He asks him, Kakarot, do you like your son? And click, you know exactly what he's after. Goku sends Gohan away, dialogue with hidden intentions. Like, would a mindless monster do that? And also we put Kid Buu here. Why can't really be hide here? I don't understand. Is that crying scenes that you are bothered by that much? Is there old Broly here? As a new Broly here? No, he isn't, so we don't have to rank him, sadly. Speaking of which... Oh, I already ranked him D rank. Because he's... They had to turn him into a soy boy. General Red, who has apparently white hair, can go to C rank. He's just a generic guy who wants to be bigger with the Dragon Balls. That was a hilarious goal. But dude, you have a wife. You are one of the richest men on the planet. You control an entire army and you are worried about your size. Well, I guess kinda. You could have taken over the world and then worry about size later. But I guess that made an interesting twist when General Commander well, Black took over afterwards. Where's Black? Did I put Black on the list already? Well, never mind. Yeah, General Blue, also a pretty good antagonist. He is worried about his looks, and this didn't age too well as a villain, but he's a gay stereotype, but the worst kind of gay stereotype because, well, I don't want to mention it. It wasn't played too actively. Just thinking about it makes worse. I have to as a villain he's great, but I think by today's standards it went a little too far with the pedo stuff, and while we talk about pedo stuff we can put Doltaki to D rank too, because fuck Doltaki. That was cringe as shit seeing him and talk about Pan. Let's put there's Black. He can go to... Why did I pick up Legic? Legic can go to B rank. He's a cool character. Is Pycon on the list here? I don't see Pycon, but like I said, Legic, he's just some kind of assassin or something, I don't know, working for this guy who is obsessed with money, who is a fine villain, I guess. But what made him interesting is after he lost to Goku, out of respect, he didn't continue fighting for this guy and just left. And he has some cool moves, like using weapons really interestingly. Even so, I am against weapons being used in this kind of series, but since it's part of his body, I guess I can kinda give it a pass, maybe. He has some interesting things about him. And Tuffel's done wrong is still done better than what Dragon Ball Super has done. We have Raichi and his machine Hachiak built of Brach or some bullshit, but he uses ghost warriors to defeat the sea fighters. And the fight against Hachiak was pretty badass despite being a video game promotion. Let's go to the best rendition of Strufuru villains, a baby. What made Baby so interesting is not just that he has relation to the Saiyans, because that's what Frieza has. He's from a race suppressed by the Saiyans and killed. And what's more is that he takes over. Before he takes over, let's talk about it. He takes over Earth and takes the body of the prince of all Saiyans, the head of the Saiyans, Vegeta, and pretty much got his revenge by enslaving all the Saiyans and rebuilding his race from the ground up by turning others into Stufus with his uh, parasites. And I think that made Baby a pretty unique villain because he isn't after just destruction. Well, he wants to kill. Well, he didn't even really want to kill all the Saiyans, but the one Saiyan he didn't want to survive was obviously Goku, because he interfered with his plan directly, and probably also Pan because she was involved too, and Trunks was left alive because he already had an egg inside him. And Goku, regarding Goku, it shows like Baby really cares about rebuilding his race, but because he can turn anyone into tougher Stufus, he is willing to sacrifice some of his followers, showing some kingly tendencies like back in the day. Like, if you think about kings, as long as the king survives, the nation can be rebuilt from the ground up. So all the underlings are pretty much pawns to be disposed of if necessary. Because if you watch the episodes, Baby likes being praised by his underlings, and but he's not up under using them if it helps to defeat a certain opponent, to use them as a shield. When fighting Goku, he lost his composure a few times, but when he noticed a certain character like Chi-Chi and Videl, he was willing to use them as weapons to lure Goku into his attack, and later he even used the Earth as hostage. He fired one Super Gallic gun, which he purposely let fail, so Goku would later go and take a direct blow head on, because it was pretty much implied that Baby has, in his final Uzaru form, has more raw power, while Goku, because he's also small, is quicker. Lastly, what make Baby, for me, an interesting antagonist is because he learned from his mistakes. Because he lost a few times against Goku, Pan, and Trunks on their adventure. He lost the first confrontation because his body wasn't complete. He used the Dragon Ball to lure them into a trap and managed to get hold of Trunks' body, but he didn't know about Trunks' hidden potentials that pushed out Baby. So Baby learned from that exchange, okay, these Saiyans have too much power, so if they let their power explode once, they should be weakened enough temporarily for me to take over their body permanently, and that's what he did with Vegeta, Trunks, Gohan, and Goten. So Baby is pretty much a clever character. The Sigma Force can go to C rank. God of Destruction, Lute is a fine villain, but it just wasn't a good fight. It was kind of like, I think and this guy is also a pretty good villain. It's the web guy, Muchi Muchi or something. Same goes for Haze Shenron. Is pretty underrated, I think. Haze Shenron. He's like this moral guy, how he's supposed to be at the beginning, before being retconned. His powers got retconned. Just existing in his territory made you weak as shit, and then he could beat the crap out of you. And he did a good job at fooling around and people underestimating him. That he managed to defeat both Goku and Pan before, but his abilities don't work on robots. Hoi is also a pretty good villain, much better than Babidi. He's a version of Babidi from pretty much, but he actually does shit. Taking a sip of water as I regain my speech. So he presented himself as a good person who wants to free Tapion, the hero. Turns out he just wants to get Hildegard awakened again. Pretty interesting. Well, we can't talk about, Cooler again. Like, this Cooler can be considered as different character depending on your interpretation of the movie. But now Cooler is fused with an entire planet eater and has now different standards. Like he still wants revenge on Goku, but he's also interested in the powers of the Super Saiyans and wants to expand his army of killer robots. I really like these concept of these movies, and but I don't think Cooler needed to be in the movie specifically, but it was done fine. Merging Vegeta is a great character arc for Vegeta, but I don't think it's as good as Vegeta was in the Saiyan Saga. Definitely B rank. The Power Brothers are okay. This guy is... they can go to D rank. Worst Shadow Dragon ever can go to D rank. This guy is fine. Lord Stark had a unique goal, but I don't think that makes him interesting enough. Now we go to some really good characters. First, Omega Shenron is pretty much like Frieza in some sense, but like the Shadow Dragons represent he's pretty much the consequences represented by the Dragon Balls as one character, and he makes some really thoughtful dialogue regarding, well, you are the reason I was born, Goku, and some other things that justify his destructive nature. He uses a lot of disrespect moves, like Goku's attack did jack shit, and then he defeated Goku with his own attack, putting salt to the wound. He one-shotted Nova Shenlong, who was equal to power to Goku at that point. And later, when Nova Shenlong was back, he just took over his body. Then his original body died, and he reincarnated inside Su Xinglong. Such an asshole. He is really good at preserving himself. And then we have Nova Shenron and I Shenron, who represent opposites of each other. Nova Shenron being about fairness and fights, he's the fairest Shadow Dragon, and I Shenron representing dirty fighting, trying to win by any means, and he reasons is trying to reason with that the result is more important in than honor. And there was an interesting. Uh, he tried to teach that to his brother, and then Goku had to criticize him that he is naive himself by letting his brother handle it. And later that kinda pissed off Aisharon, because there is a fight he would taunt Goku, as Goku boasted that he would defeat him in 5 seconds, and then he used Pan as a shield, delaying the 5-second rule and saying, well, see, I'm still alive. But this guy is an asshole. But you do what you do to survive, I guess. And he was defeated by the best looking Dragon Fist scene in my mind. And Nobushino obviously allying with Goku at the end. He had some of the best scenes, so to speak. Maybe as an antagonist, like, you can argue if he's not good as a Shadow Dragon, because he doesn't seem really evil. What does he want by destroying and killing people? But he does kill people, from what we heard. Just not children and women, except Goku, because he's in reality an adult. Then we have Xi Xinglong. I think Xi Xinglong is also a really good villain in terms of using psychology to defeat Goku. Well, you can say the same about Reddit technically, but nobody really used had so much power over Goku's mind like Xi Xinglong, and I made a video dedicated to his fight, so you can watch that and then see why I put him where I put him. And then we have Hellfighter 17. He is fine, I guess. Not that impressive, but then we have these awful Freezer soldiers that surpassed Freezer somehow. Do I have anyone else? Discount Freezers can go to D rank 2, and sadly we are missing some really annoying characters. Super 17 can go to B rank simply because he was intentionally written like a character, mindless killing a submissive machine by Dr. Garo and Dr. Mew that listens to every order from Dr. Mew. But later, when 18 appeared and managed to reach him, then we saw, even if it was short, there's more to his character than being just a weapon. I think that's enough of a character arc. And the rest we can just let be. I don't think they are worth being ranked as of now. And this is how our list looks. These were just villains and antagonists. Where's Jiren? Jiren would be below D rank 2, and I think this is how we end the video. I hope you enjoyed it despite my yawning a few times, and we see each other next time.